What is good, Raider Nation, man? Today I got us a good one. It's among the lines on players that we could bring in, players who will draft, and players who will let walk, all that kind of stuff. This is just a realistic revamp of our offense and our defense going into this 2021 season, man. Let's get into it. Number one, I'm gonna just quick fire all the people we should let go to clear up this cap space real quick. Um, the NFL did just announce that the cap moved up from 180 to 185. That still puts us below the cap around 18 million, which is gonna go up. Most likely is gonna go up again. So I think it's gonna go from 180 to about 188 or 188.5, maybe even 190, and that's what I'm gonna base all this stuff on. So we're saying that when the cap does go up against, when they do bump it up once again to around 188, 190, we'll only be -8 under the cap. So let's get into it. The people that we all know that we can let go, simple. 8 million LaMarcus Joyner, goodbye. 11 million on Marcus Mariota, either trade or cut. That's fine. Trent Brown, trade or cut. That's over 35 million right there. Then, with the news that's coming out a lot recently, is Derek Carr getting a contract extension. Now, I am not against this whatsoever. The reason being is that you can save so much money this year with extending Derek Carr. And the way that, for some people, if that doesn't make sense to you, how does giving a player more money in the future make us save less money now? It's simple. The money that he has now is it's not guaranteed, but the way in us extending him, let's say it's a 3-year extension until he's 35, the money that he has right now will be mostly incentives and bonuses, so it won't be guaranteed at all. So we will have that money to spend. And with the way that the Raiders really restructure contracts, they know how to do that very well, and they can easily save 13 to 15 million dollars this year on Derek Carr's contract. So it's there. I give the Raiders props for that. They really know how to manage their money really well, because when you say how do they know how to manage their money well when we're under the cap? We're only under the cap because the NFL lowered the cap from 205 million to 180. We would have been fine. We would have been like plus 15 or 10 million this year, but since they lowered it, we don't have that money. So like I said, the 14 million from Trent, the 11 million from Marcus, the 11 million from Tyrell, the 8 million from LaMarcus Joyner, the 15 million that we can get out of restructuring Derek Carr, and the 2 million out of Arden Key. We have, I believe we will end up restructuring 2 contracts, and that is Gabe Jackson and Carl Nassib. I believe we can get 4 million out of the 2, so that's another 4 million. And then 2 like depth chart guys that are taking up a good chunk of money is our center Eric Magnusson, or however you say his name, and Kyle Slaughter, the quarterback, also taking up almost $1 million. Now, you get all that money that I just said, you get 59 million in cap, and that's after you take away the 8 million that we're in the negative. So that would have been around 67 million, but the 8 negative that we're in, we only have 59, but that is more than enough. All right, so what I want to talk about is that many people don't understand is that you go into free agency. Yes, we would go into free agency with 59 million. You truly only have 49 million. And that's because you have to pay your draft class that you're drafting this year. And we have a pretty high, it's like a mid pick. And usually the mid picks get a lot of money. So, you say you got to just put 10 million aside for your rookies, for your draft class, 10 million. So we really only have around 49 million going into this free agency period, which is more than what we need. So, starting off, we really want to address the defensive tackle position. And if you guys watched my video on how to fix a Raiders interior pass rush, you know that there's a guy that I really want. And that guy is Matt Ioannidis. I think we can trade for him. I believe that we can trade Marcus Mariota and a 3rd or a 4th round pick to get him. And let me tell you this, the best part about him is that Yes, his numbers are great. Yes, he's a good player. But his contract is the best part. You're talking about, oh, let's go sign Dalvin Tomlinson for 16. Let's go sign Leonard Williams for 20. Bro, my guy, Matt Ioannidis, very productive, is only on a 7 million contract next year, and the year after that is only 8 million. So we're talking about on average 7.5 million for him. So let's do the math. With Matt Ioannidis coming in, you go from 49 to 42. That's fine. There's no problem with that. Then let's talk about the guys that we should bring back. Denzel Good, Takk McKinley, those are musts in my opinion. They aren't going to be asking for much. I say 9 million in between the two. So, and you take away your 9 million there and you're good. 9 million away from Takk and Denzel Good. Then you have around 33 million left. And that's a good chunk of change left. 33 million. And with that money, you go out and you get a safety. You have to get a safety. So we then addressed getting Takk back. You got Denzel Good back. You traded for a guy like Matt Ioannidis. Now you have to address your you really have to address the safety position. And a guy that I really like for the simple fact that he's addressed that he has interest in joining the Raiders, and I always love when players from other teams show and express the fact that they like the Raiders. And that's John Johnson. I think that the Rams potentially could tag him because they did get rid of Jared Goff's horrible contract, but at the end of the day, I am hoping they don't. But if they do let him walk, you have to go out and get him. He's a guy that wants to play for the Raiders, and he's not a super expensive guy. He'll cost you around 13 to 14 million a year. You can lock him up for 13 or 14 million a year on a 3 or 4 year deal. He's a must. Then if you can't get him, there's multiple other good options in this class. You have Marcus Williams, who I think is going to get paid more because the Saints can't afford him, so he's going to be open to all 31 other teams. And another guy who I really like coming off an injury is Malik Hooker. And I think that that's what's going to make Malik Hooker even cheaper. So if you can't get John Johnson, you don't want to spend 16 or 15 million on Marcus May, and then go out and spend like 8 or 9 million, 7 to 9 million on Malik Hooker, which is he's very viable. 100%, this is a very good person to get. But why get one for 7 million when you can afford one for 14, right? But yeah, John Johnson, definitely, he's a must go after. Marcus May, for some reason, people really seem to like Marcus May, and I understand why you would like him. My only problem with Marcus May is that he did play the deep high after Jamal Adams left, but and he did produce after Jamal Adams left, but in our system, our guys our strong safeties are going to be playing closer to the box, right? I understand Darren Waller is probably the craziest matchup nightmare in the NFL, but let me give you an example about Marcus May. When we went up against the New York Jets, and at the end of the game, they started putting Darren Waller on Marcus May on Darren Waller. Darren Waller did not slow down at all. Marcus May, I like him. If you can't get Malik Hooker, you can't get John Johnson, and you can't get Marcus Williams, go out and get Marcus May. Then yes. If you miss on all 3 of those guys, then yes. And if you miss on Marcus May, then go out and get Anthony Harris. But I like Marcus May. If he's a Raider next year, I don't mind it, but he's my 4th option. He is not my number 1 or number 2 option. But yeah, so we're talking about, we had 49 million because you set 10 aside for your draft class. You go out and spend 9 on Denzel Good and Takk McKinley together. So you had 49. Now you're at 40 with re-signing 2 people. Then you go out and trade for a Matt Ioannidis for $8 million a year. Then you have 32 million left. Then you go out and get possibly one of these top safeties that aren't going to go much for more, besides Marcus Williams, possibly for more than 15 million. I'd say John Johnson's like steepest is going to be 13 or 14. So we were at 32 million. You take away 14 million from him, you have 18 million left, if my math is right. Yeah, you have 18 million left. Actually, I don't know if my math is right there. If you had 18 million, yes, it is. It is right. So you had 18 million left. Okay. Now, this is the thing. Do we want us to try and develop Damon Arnett? Do we want to develop Amik Robertson? Do we want to develop Isaiah Johnson? Here's the thing. In this system, you only have 2 corners out at a time. There's going to be times where we have 3. There's going to be rare occasions where we have 4. But do we want? The question now is, do we want to try and develop Damon Arnett? I think with the rumors and all this kind of stuff surrounding Richard Sherman, and we all seen the videos with Gruden and Richard Sherman, I really do think that is a very high possibility. I think Richard Sherman gets around 9 million. So I do see us getting Richard Sherman. As much as he isn't the best player, he is a very, very, very smart player. He might not be the best physically because of his age and injuries. He is a teacher, man. He is a very good teacher. And he knows the ins and outs of this defense that he'll be playing in, so that will make him be comfortable. So I do see Richard Sherman being our guy coming in. So with that, you have 9 million left. And now, do you go out and do you re-sign Nelson Agholor with the 9 million? And you may think, well, we don't have enough. Nelson Agholor wants Tyrell Williams money. That won't happen, and let me tell you why. He's not going to get Tyrell Williams money for the simple fact he is 28, bro. He's done. Like, he's done in a couple years. He's not going to be 33 playing in the NFL. He's going to end off at 30 or 31. He's done very soon. He's not going to get the Tyrell Williams money. Tyrell Williams was like 25 or 26 when he got the contract with the Raiders. He wasn't even going to be 20. He wasn't even going to be 30 yet. For that fact, he's not going to get that money. Also, people are going to look at his past and they're going to see, okay, well, was this just like a breakout year? Was this a fluke? What's going on? He's not going to get Tyrell Williams money. I do believe that actually that $7.5 million offer that supposedly was on the table before was a fair offer. Saying that we only have $9 million now, I think if you drop every dime onto him and he still says no, let his ass walk. We don't want him if he wants any more than $9 million. You use that $9 million now to go and get a tackle because of Trent Brown's departure. That's what I think we should do. We shouldn't re-sign Nelson Agholor. If he wants any more than $9 million, let him walk. That's it. If he wants more than that, let him go. Cause I don't know where he thinks he was gonna be able to get more than $9 million after 1 year. He's gonna be 29 next year, then 30 the year after that. Yeah, nah. We can let him go. You get a tackle with that $9 million if Nelson Agholor does walk, or if you don't want to go into next year without having a receiver like Nelson Agholor, then you spend $7 or $8 million on Curtis Samuel, or you get another prove-it-year kind of deal on some of these guys, like a guy who's gonna be leaving for pretty cheap. His name is gonna bring him higher. Is AJ Green. I think if you put AJ Green in a room with Bryan Edwards, I think that'll be great. They're very similar. I think AJ Green can teach him a lot. I really do. Then let's say you do let Nelson Agholor walk. You pick up AJ Green for $3 to $5 million. You have around $4 or $5 million to spend on a tackle still. So we have a lot of options here this offseason, man, with these cuts. And a lot of it comes from DC getting that extension. If DC doesn't get that extension, then we can't get a guy like, we can't re-sign a guy like Nelson Agholor, or we can't think of getting a a tackle for 8 or 9 million. We can't, like, we just can't do it. So a lot of this does bank on the fact that DC does get his extension. So rounding this all up, the draft class that I just was talking about, you need to set aside like 10 million for your draft class. Also, with the video that I just did on my mock draft, you have to you really do have to look at that left outside linebacker spot where Nicholas Morrow is playing. You have to make a decision. Do I want to keep Nicholas Morrow, or do I spend that first round pick on one of these very good guys? In my opinion, you let Nicholas Morrow walk, and you get either Micah Parsons if he's there, which I don't think so. He's a top 10 talent. Or you get Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, dude. You get them, and now your linebacking core is fast as shit. You have to get that. Your linebacking core now looks like Jeremiah, Corey Littleton, and then your middle linebackers is Nick Witkowski. On top of that, you're going to have a strong safety coming down, Jonathan Abram, who's very fast, and covering the middle with Nick Witkowski. You have to get Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah in the first round. If Micah Parsons is there, you pick him instead of Jeremiah because it is just a no-brainer. But let's go over this one more time. You restructure Derek Carr, you get your money, you get rid of all the players that I said, and you're now able to pay your draft class, but you're also able to get Sherman, John Johnson, Matt Ioannidis, re-sign Takk McKinley. You're able to re-sign Denzelle Good, and you still have the option of spending another $9 million, whether it's on Nelly or it's on on a tackle or AJ Green and then a cheaper tackle. But you have a lot of options. Now, if you tell me that next year we go into the season and we have Max Crosby, Maurice Hurst, Matt Ioannidis, and Clelin Ferrell on that defensive floor, then you have Corey Littleton playing linebacker. You have Nick Witkowski playing linebacker. Then you have Jonathan Abram coming down and playing a linebacker role. Then you have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah playing linebacker. Or you have Micah Parsons if he falls. Then your outside corners look like Trayvon and Sherman. Or if you don't want to spend that money, then you have if you don't get Sherman, right? Here's another possibility. You don't get Richard Sherman, you save $9 million. You now have $18 million to spend because you really don't know what to do with Nelson Agholor and his money. You now have the ability to go out and get a number one wide receiver, with your defense being substantially better. So it's tough, man. There's a lot of money to spend with this free agency, and it's very easy to make this money. So, like I said, let's say the next year, starting from the top to bottom, let's say you have John Johnson, free safety, strong safety, Jonathan Abram, then Nick Witkowski at linebacker, Jeremiah at linebacker or Micah Parsons. Then you have Corey Littleton at linebacker. Then you have Trayvon and Arnett at outside corners, or Trayvon and Sherman, whatever. And then your defensive line looks like Max Hurst, Matt Ioannidis, and Clelin Ferrell. That defense right there, we're going to the playoffs, man. This year you have to make the playoffs. There's no excuses, bro. We're gonna have the money, we're gonna have the talent, we're gonna have the good defensive coordinator. We're going to have everything to put it together. We're just now going to have to learn how to play from week 1 all the way through week 17. None of this, I'm going to be good week 1 through week 10. No, that's not going to slide. The great teams get better as the season progresses. So, yeah, not many changes on the offense. A little comment here. If we don't get rid of Trent Brown, that's a possibility. Let's say we don't get rid of Trent, but we do get rid of Gabe and Richie. That's also a possibility. We do make more money doing that, getting rid of Gabe and Richie. So now you can re-sign Denzelle Good and still have Trent Brown, Denzelle Good, and then your left guard could be John Simpson. I think that's a possibility, but I don't think that Trent Brown wants to be here anymore. If he doesn't want to be here anymore, let him go. We don't want him. But besides that, let me know in the comments how I can improve these videos. Let me know what other videos you guys want. And let me know if you guys really like this this realistic off-season kind of stuff, man, I could do more videos just like this. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Subscribe if you can, and that'll be it.